Welcome, everyone, to Saturday Evening Chats. This is episode 113. And tonight we have the co host extraordinaire, Mr. DM Foss. Welcome.
Well, hello, everybody.
So, we are flying solo, or it's just you and I tonight. So, let's throw up the brand.
In a world of uncertainty and turmoil, one man stands alone, along with his faithful sidekick. A man who entertains and educates the masses weekly, 70% of the time. Born out of the dusty plains of Washington State, now from the coastal forests of Oregon. The man, the myth, the man, G23.
So, we've kind of been talking a little bit backstage about. I got a poll going right now for which is worse, sporting rifle ban or the repeal of the PLCAA, which hopefully a lot of people know, but it's the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. So then I have the choice of both, or you're crazy. Rhinos won't flip. So hopefully we get some votes out there. And I kind of want to discuss maybe like the pros and cons of why the either of them would be good or bad. So banning sporting rifles, how could that be a good thing and how could it be a bad thing? Mr. Foss, we'll start with you.
Well, I don't see a good thing. I don't see any good thing coming from that. I do not believe it'll pass the Senate. You never know, because you can't trust any of them. So I'm not as concerned. The PLACA thing is, in my opinion, worse between the two. Just because that has the potential to, drive the gun manufacturers out of business.
Yeah. So it was kind of there's absolutely zero good about banning sporting rifles, except that the ones that are in your possession then become 10 times more valuable. Because if you look at the way what was it, HR 1808 worded it, you'll still be able to have the ones you already own, all your sporting rifles that you already own, and you'll still be able to privately sell them. But there won't be, it's like so many hoops that would have to go through to be able to produce new ones. So again, if you read what they write on there, you can obviously tell that these guys have absolutely no idea what like firearms are and their functions and things like that. So, and like you're saying, The PLACA is way, way worse to have pass. If they repeal that, you can pretty much kiss all firearm manufacturing goodbye, because so many frivolous lawsuits will be filed by these super moronic people that don't understand and want to try holding a manufacturer responsible for somebody else's actions. And we all say it. How is it that everybody wants to hold the firearm manufacturer responsible for somebody's action, but we don't hold Ford responsible for when a drunk driver decides to use a Ford vehicle to, kill innocent people? You know, so people have kind of, we don't hold knife manufacturers responsible for anything. We don't hold fork manufacturers and, silverware manufacturers responsible for people becoming obese and dying from, their obesity. So at what point does it stop? So let's run down the side chat real quick. First in was 2 Live Moo. Mr. Kingpin is out there. CNT Designs. G-Webs is out there. Andy 79Z28. Georgia Trapping and Fishing. Mike White. Anybody else? Patriot in the Dark is out there. Mr. DM Foss pulling double duty. Tactical Fud is out there. Mr. Buck. SS Pawn. Jet 001's out there. Bald and Curious is out there. So Lakeview Outdoors is out there. Yep. So CNT says, we all know what is going on. Left doesn't like guns, and they want to shut down any company that makes guns. They bleed them dry with lawsuits. Yeah, absolutely. So now that's kind of partially true there, Bald, but not really, because PLACA only deals with the firearms, So there'd still be Lawful Commerce Act to cover everything else. Yep. So 223 DMR is out there. Kingpin says this will stop when the government has control over all industry. They will sue Ford next. That is the plan. Probably. Absolutely. So I'm not sure if I have CNT's email address, but I think I do. maybe I can shoot him a link if he wants to jump on. Oh, look who finally decides to show up. It's New York Outcast.
What's going on, fellas?
Not much.
Summer people.
So, kind of discussing the potential of a sporting rifle ban and which would be worse, sporting rifle ban or if they repeal PLC AA, the PLACA, so the Protection of Lawful Commerce, or the
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yep. You have any thoughts on it?
Not really. Sounds like a bunch of information I'd have to dive into to make a, good conversation or have a pick on. But since I assume this is hypothetical in a sense, I don't really know that it's worth it to me. So.
No, it's not really hypothetical. I mean, they're both sitting in front waiting to potentially be voted on.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but people can say whatever the hell they want to say. But is it good for everybody? No, wouldn't be good. But what people are gonna do, that's a different story. That's between you and God or whatever your thing is.
So, like the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act protects the manufacturers from, frivolous lawsuits from, this guy used an M&P to shoot his neighbor, and now we're going to sue M&P instead of the guy who did the shooting.
Yeah. Well, they're already doing that now anyway. I mean, not that I agree with it. I think if that should be allowed, then we should be able to do the same thing for kitchen knives, automobiles, I don't know, Healy skates, whatever's out there, any product. So, it shouldn't be limited towards firearms. I mean, honestly, I assume people probably get injured more regularly with power tools than firearms. So, I've drilled a few holes in my hand. I can tell you that. I don't know if, they want to cut me a check, but, it should be open to everything and not selective towards firearms if that's the case. But I don't agree with it. I think it's ridiculous, obviously. But no, you're saying between the two, I don't know what would be worse. Neither is good.
Oh yeah, neither one of them is a good option. I don't think any of us would agree that any of them are good options.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if they did take the one, then I see there being an opening for all products, which hopefully it would get squashed pretty soon. I don't know, but who knows? Because they do what they do. So
See,
I
I
wasn't
agree.
working on a truck though.
I do agree with guns and water. We should be able to sue politicians for deaths in gun-free zones and gun restrictions.
Yeah. I mean, you open it up to pretty much everything. I mean, if that's how we're gonna do it. Uh, yeah, again, just ridiculous, but I'll just keep repeating myself with that statement. So
Yeah. See it. Now, we have the, the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, which is in place right now, which has been around since 2005. Now, why would we have a special protection for firearms and then say that those same manufacturers are not covered under the same protections that cover, being able to sue Black & Decker because that toaster, was used to, kill somebody?
crickets, man. Yeah. Step ladder. How many people fell off a step ladder and died? Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes it takes a week, for the brain bleeds and all that. But yeah, all types of crap. I mean, how many people drowned it after they went out on a surfboard? Sue the surfboard manufacturer. You know what I mean? There's so much. It's like I said. It just goes on and on and on. It's clearly just an attack on our Second Amendment rights, in my opinion. So.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I mean, probably. I mean, just think of like a kitchen knife on a daily basis. How many people accidentally cut themselves on a kitchen knife? Yeah. My goodness. We'd be all like living in bubbles. We wouldn't even be able to survive if everybody, we could do that to everybody.
We got the Gun Snob out there. Lakeview Outdoors is out there. Guns and Water. We're getting some Miss Vanessa Kitties out there. Joe
Think of all
Morgan.
them Ford Mustangs that like just slamming into poles and stop signs and stuff. It's usually right when they make a turn, like just, boom. Right. Ford would be out of business.
Mr. P&W Woods is out there. So, there was a story. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I don't know if Foss still has it pulled up. About a homeowner who shot and killed somebody breaking into his house. And goes to jail. So this just happened not that long ago. Wow.
A lot of dead air today.
I know. I should have had this pulled up already,
Come
but
on here, boys.
I don't know. Kind of.
Well, your week off wasn't enough?
It wasn't. So, Washington homeowner, you'd think I'd be more prepared, but nope. Here's Washington homeowner shoots and kills man breaking into home, authorities say. The Washington State victim and his girlfriend had gotten into an argument before she left for their neighbor's house, where he was later shot and killed. So it says a homeowner in Washington fatally shot a man who tried to break into his home Friday. Authorities said deputies with the Pierce County Sheriff's Department received a call from someone saying a man was trying to break into his home and that he had shot him. When they arrived, they found a 36-year-old man dead on a back porch. Authorities said the homeowner was taken into police custody. Investigators later learned that the deceased man and his girlfriend lived next door. The couple had an argument and the woman went to the neighbor's home, authorities said. The woman had an active no contact order against her boyfriend. Police said the man who was shot and killed attempted to break into the neighbor's home before he was shot. Officials said he also made threats against the people inside, including his girlfriend. The shooter, a 59-year-old man, was interviewed and released. Prosecutors will review the case to determine if any charges will be filed.
All right, that's a little confusing, but I think I got it. So
Yeah, sounds a little off.
the shooter didn't end up in jail then, from what you stated initially, I guess.
Well, they had arrested him, interviewed him, and then released him.
Yeah.
Well, then typically they're gonna interview anybody whenever there's a defensive shoot, just to see whether stories track and stuff like that. So I can see that end of it.
Yeah, but now they're saying they're gonna wait to see if the prosecuting attorney's office is gonna seek charges. Kind of sounds like a pretty open and shut case to me.
Well, what state was it?
Washington State.
You gotta remember, they're coming into this. You got a dead guy. You got somebody that shot the dead guy, and so they have to go through and look at all the evidence. It's not just, you can't just show up and say, "Oh, there's a dead guy." You get one story from this guy. What if he's lying? What if he's banging the chick and she's lying? So they have to go through and then look at the evidence. Does it seem to be truthful? Is there surveillance video? And then they can determine, was this a lawful shoot?
Yeah. But let's be honest, there are prosecutors that have locked people up for shoots that should have been clean.
Oh, well, I agree with you. There's prosecutors that don't think you
in
should.
That state, if you can just shoot somebody through a door like that, because I don't know, it might be legal, it might not be. It seems, in my opinion, I've always been, let them commit the crime before you defend yourself. In a sense, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'd probably wait till the entry was made just for legal purposes, because
if it's a clear threat,
people beat on doors. Shit. Sometimes I've been woken up because there's people across the street got Rent-A-Center beating on the door like it's a damn raid. So I don't know.
it's got to be a clear, defined threat before you pull that trigger. There has to be a clear threat there. Now, that being said, if it's a clear threat that I know is a threat, and you're beating on my door, I'm probably not going to shoot you through it. I'm probably just going to get ready for it. And as soon as you come through that door, you're getting drilled. I mean,
And I wonder
I'm
if
just curious legally if that has any play into his charges or not.
it very well could.
it, like, was he actually arrested or was he just detained and then taken downtown? And since since they took him, are they just calling it an arrest when it's not actually an arrest?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Anytime you pull the trigger on somebody, you can expect to have handcuffs thrown on you until they figure the situation out. That's why any lawyers that are actually competent will tell you, don't say anything to the police except for, I want a lawyer. It doesn't matter whether the dude he was wearing a hockey mask and had a damn machete in his hand. Don't say anything to the police, but I want my lawyer. Because they will use anything you say against you, and they could turn a good shoot into a prosecutable shoot in a hurry.
So it sounds like PNW knows a lot about this situation, because he says the guy isn't innocent, pending charges.
Yeah, and it could be. I mean, it's one thing, you don't know till you get everything. You don't know till you get all the evidence in on it. Now, if it was a situation like I've heard in New York where someone, shoots a home intruder, the guy's in their home, obviously a threat, and they shoot him, and they still try to prosecute the person who defended themselves, that's a bunch of horse shit. And they will do that because in New York you have a duty to retreat.
I know.
Yeah. You basically got to be in fear for your life, but in the middle of the night, you just become a scaredy cat. You know what I mean? I don't know.
See, now in California, the way they word their duty to retreat, it doesn't matter if you're in fear of your life. If there is any kind of ability for you to retreat, you have to retreat.
Yeah.
So if you can jump through a window and survive the fall 3 stories and take off running, your ass better be doing that.
See, there was a case in New York, and I'd have to look it up. It was a few years ago where it was an older gentleman. He got a handgun, wasn't registered. I think he got it from a family member. And someone broke into his house, going to do harm to him. He shot the attacker, killed him, and then they put his ass in prison over it, which is a bunch of horse shit.
So PNW says he shot the guy in his yard, not his house. It says his story is sketchy. So it sounds like PNW knows a lot.
Oh, was it?
Well, yeah.
Did he shoot the guy?
I know. I'm wondering because when the wife said it, and it Pierce County, I'm like, was it Woods? Did Woods do the shooting? The two guys had a long history of conflict. Well, it's, the guy who got shot, you can't say that he was a good guy when his girlfriend had a no contact order against his ass. So there's got to be a reason.
Sounds like maybe everybody involved was dirtbags.
Yeah, the more and more you're kind of hearing about the story, you're going, well, yeah.
Well, sounds like it all stirs back to a damn woman.
Well, yeah.
Crazy ass fools got wound up and set loose because of a crazy ass lady.
Well, now the neighbor who shot the boyfriend and killed him, I believe he was married with kids, because And another story from there, it says that there was multiple people inside the house that he had threatened. Uncle John says, Pierce County, go figure. So for people not familiar with Washington State, Pierce County, King County, Skagit County, Spokane County are pretty much your major left-leaning counties, and there's others but those are your main ones that have zero problems trying to attack your rights.
Well, and this is if it's outside Gig Harbor, you're kind of out in the boonies, so it could be all meth addicts too.
Spun away.
Yeah, especially around Spanaway.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, for people from Washington commonly refer to Spanaway as Spunaway. It's because probably 90% of the people that live there are high on methamphetamines or something. Yeah, you're muted, Coop.
Yeah, had some mic issues. Yeah, and man, anytime there's a defensive shoot in an area, you can bet there's going to be investigations. But anytime you're in a very liberal area and you are involved in a defensive shoot, you can plan on using anything they can to hang your ass on it. That's just the way they're going to roll that.
Yep.
I wouldn't volunteer any information or nothing like that. Same thing as he basically was stating before. Yeah, I've seen it in other cases, not necessarily shootings, but yeah, they will twist your words up and things like this. So you're better off just not even talking like that. So most of the companies, USCCA, I assume the others will basically tell you the same thing. So not being a jerk about it, but you don't have much to say other than what need an ambulance. There's something happened. I was attacked. I need my lawyer. That's basically it. The location. You don't go through everything because the heat of the moment, the way what you're meaning could be interpreted differently, and it's not worth it. Like you're better off staying quiet, even if it seems simple and cut and dry. In my opinion, you're better off just staying quiet.
Yeah, there's this podcast I listen to quite a bit. It's I think it's Self-Defense Stories. Tony Simons has been on there a few times. And they go through a lot of defensive shootings and what happens before the shooting, what happened during the shooting, and they'll give you advice on what to do in certain situations. And almost 100% of the time, that's the line. Look, do not talk to the cops in the heat of the moment. If you have to explain to them you were attacked, you defended yourself, that's the only thing you say about it. And then the only other thing you're saying is I will speak to you through an attorney. That's it. That's all. Because if you turn around, even if you were attacked, you're amped up, your adrenaline's through the roof, and you tell them, yeah, I shot the son of a bitch. Well, that's what they're going to hear, and that's what they're going to press. They're going to press you doing that violent act and not all the stuff that led up to you actually having to defend yourself.
also you should make sure you call the police first.
Yeah.
Like if you have the option, like a neighbor will say, "Oh, I'm going to call." You call.
Yep.
Because that makes a difference on how you're dealt with.
Yep. That's one thing they mention all the time on that show. Now it's run by, I think, a self-defense attorney. They've got all sorts of firearms trainers on there all the time going through these stories. And they mention that constantly. When you call the police, you make sure you call the police as at the first possible moment you can. That way, the person that you shot doesn't have a chance to call the police and claim that you attacked them. Because that's going to put you basically on the wrong side of that equation from the start. And then you're going to have to fight your way out of that. So you make sure that you call, you make sure that you give information about your attacker. They were attacking you. I was in fear for my life. I used my firearm in self-defense and leave it at that. But you make sure you're the one making the call. You know, and in the case of someone, say, kicking in your door, a lot of times they recommend you make the call to the police when they're kicking in your door, leave the phone on speaker, then sit the phone down, and then move back to a defensive posture. That way the police, because everything's going to be recorded, they can hear everything that goes on during that time. So there's no question about it. It's all these little things to do to make it less likely that you are going to have to spend thousands and thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to defend yourself in court.
Yeah, and I know if you're a member of USCCA, they send you a card to keep in your wallet. That on the very back of the card, it kind of gives you a guideline of what to do in case of a defensive shoot.
Yeah.
And the kind of words to say and everything. And then, of course, make sure that you say the very minimum that you're going to, that you need to say. And say all statements will be done in time with my attorney present.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be making statements when you are just coming, either your adrenaline's still up or you're just coming off an adrenaline dump where you had to put somebody down. You don't want to be trying to explain yourself in that situation. I tend to be rough spoken in the first place. I damn sure don't want to be trying to explain myself at that time, because I know what I'm going to say, and it's probably not going to be the smartest legal thing I could ever say.
So, I want to say hello to 9mm. Good to see you back. Been missing in action for a while. I know life has been hectic, especially with the hubby starting a new business. So, hopefully the restaurant is going great. But then at the same time, with it going great means not seeing the hubby all the time, So.
Yeah, but hell, when you guys were talking about before I got on, talking about the legal commerce and all, is PLACA, them going after PLACA. What you're going to start there is, if they get rid of PLACA, is it's basically going to be like every frivolous class action lawsuit you see on your TV or hear in a commercial every night. Have you been injured by this product? Do you know someone who's been injured by this product? Well, join onto this lawsuit. And it's going to be a way to bankrupt gun manufacturers. That's the only reason they want to remove that protection. If a gun manufacturer produces an unsafe product, you can sue them. Ask SIG. SIG's dealing with that and has been dealing with it for a few years now. And SIG's going to pay a lot of money for it. But what you can't do is sue someone for the misuse of their product. I can't go sue a toaster manufacturer if I go throw a toaster in the tub with my wife. That's just not the way that works. I was using it outside of its intended use.
But you're telling me that there's not a safety on there to keep that from happening?
What if
Oh,
you
yeah.
throw the wife in the tub with the
I mean,
toaster?
Yeah, I mean, the toaster could be there already. I could just push her in the tub, you know. But it's the same reason we could when the guy ran his car into the parade or his Ford SUV into the parade up in Wetumpka. You know, you couldn't go sue Ford for that because that car wasn't manufactured or made or intended to be ran through a group of innocent people, killing 5 and injuring 20 something. You know, it's another reason that they want to take firearms and they want to put them under the consumer product agencies. That way, the consumer product agencies can go in and tell the firearms manufacturers, well, your Glock doesn't have an exterior safety on it or a manual thumb safety, so therefore it's an unsafe product. So you can't manufacture and sell that product in the United States until you add these safety features that we deem necessary. That's California's whole firearms roster,
which right now is sitting in front of the ninth, about to be thrown out. But so because the assault weapons ban in California, the roster in California, and the magazine ban were all issued writs of certiorari by the Supreme Court, by SCOTUS, with the caveat that they threw them back down to the ninth to re-rule on them based on the Bruen decision. Now, will the ninth then decide, you know what, we're going to kick this down to the court that first made the ruling to make them re-rule on it so that they can try keeping it in the courts longer to keep everyone oppressed?
Oh, there's no doubt they're going to play as many games with it as they possibly can. You're talking about groups of people who have no respect for the Constitution, no respect for personal rights or freedoms, but you're also dealing with a Democrat Party that I firmly believe before the midterms is going to kill the filibuster and pack the court. Then you add in 4 more judges to the Supreme Court that, of course, aren't going to give a shit about the Constitution. So even this assault weapons ban that we watched all damn day yesterday, when that does pass, this new Supreme Court will uphold it.
Now, see, there's where I differ on you. I don't believe that they're going to kill the filibuster.
Oh, trust me. I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope I'm the wrongest son bitch on this planet.
So,
but I think it's coming.
Because if they kill the filibuster, they wouldn't be able to reinstate the filibuster before the midterms. And if you follow the politics long enough, we'll call them conservatives, Republicans should take control over both the Senate and the Congress. They by the way things have gone in the past, that would be what would be the next step. And at that point, if you get the right people in there on the conservative side, no filibuster, they could then take and remove those sitting for nominations.
Well, once they're on the court,
they can still be impeached. They can be impeached just like any other sitting. Yeah. They can be impeached.
You would have to go through a whole lot of shit to actually impeach them. And see, the Democrats fully expect that in these next elections, they fully expect they're going to be able to maintain power. Believe it or not, they do. That's the reason they're going through the back door right now, and they're putting in all of these things with elections to make things like the mail-in ballots easier. They're trying to maintain that. Mm-hmm. drop boxes, wanting more drop boxes. They fully think that they can do the same thing in 22 that they did in 20. So
but what was it?
They're thinking they're going to maintain that power.
Illinois? I think it was Illinois or it was Iowa, somewhere back in that area in the Midwest. Their state Supreme Court just ruled that those drop boxes are illegal.
Yeah, and that's a good thing for us. But still, they've got to push that up the ladder because you can bet Democrats are going to fight that tooth and nail. I'm just the other side of the equation that says don't put anything past these people.
Oh yeah,
because they don't give a shit about the Constitution. All they care about is their power.
See, and that's why they're you hear them keep talking about like monkeypox, or now you're starting to hear whooping cough being brought back.
You're going to hear a lot about polio within the next year.
Oh yeah. So, and they're still not letting go of the COVID. Of course, they're not.
It's not going anywhere.
They're going to, as it starts getting closer and closer to voting, they're gonna, oh crap, we got to shut down the country again because all of a sudden the pandemic is back.
Oh yeah, they're going to do anything they can to ramp that up. And it's the same thing that they've always pulled. Take any crisis you can, use that crisis to maintain your power and your authority.
Mm-hmm. Never let a good crisis go to waste.
No. It's I was going back today, hell, even well before your show started, and was actually listening to some of the old hearings on both the original assault weapons ban and then the hearings wanting to repeal the assault weapons ban like the next year. And the same arguments are used, the same tired ass arguments. And then you got people sitting there in front of Congress explaining how they use these banned guns to defend themselves, even back then. And the Democrats are still blowing it off. And even when you have more of those guns in circulation now, they just continue to blow it off. And especially with the decisions they've got from the Supreme Court lately, they are balls out going to do everything they can to get their agenda passed. So I'm just expecting it to get a lot crazier than maybe some people are. And if I'm wrong, dude, fuck me, dude, I will love it. I will be the happiest person on the planet. If I'm right, it's going to suck.
Yeah, and I know we've had a few people out there saying that it's pretty much, both parties are the same. They are, and you hear a lot of us talking about, like, I don't call myself a conservative or anything. I'm a constitutionalist. I stick by. I want my politicians to follow what the Constitution of the United States stands for and what it says. And so if you need to do that, you take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And so, we need to make sure we start looking at getting more constitutionalists in there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, without a doubt, if we had more people that would actually respect the Constitution in government, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. With the recession, we wouldn't be in the situation, abroad politically. We wouldn't have the crime rates we have right now. But there's been this steady march towards giving the government more power. And whenever you give the government more power, well, the situation doesn't get better. And it's not going to get better with more power in the hands of the government. That's the reason our Constitution was written the way it was written, to limit government.
Yep. And the thing is it's supposed to be the states run themselves, and the federal government is only there to help with disputes between states.
Yeah, the federal government, their only job was to solve disputes in between states and to provide for a common defense. That was really their only two jobs. And ever since the ink on, well, even before the ink on the Constitution was really dry, there was a steady march to give the government more power and more influence. But again, I'll say it like I have 1,000 other times. That's the reason that the federal government uses the Interstate Commerce Clause to make firearms laws, because they were never given power to make laws around firearms inside the states. But they use the Interstate Commerce Clause to get around that, to legitimize that effort.
Yeah. Absolutely. They are going to do anything and everything. And the sad thing is that a lot of voters keep giving up more and more and more power. They just keep handing it to, I don't want to vote on this, so you just go ahead and take care of it for me.
Yeah.
No, you need to read, you need to pay attention and say, no, you guys don't get that power to all of a sudden you're going to raise my property tax because you want to do this new thing to possibly help 3 other people. No, you don't get to do this kind of stuff.
Well, the founders wrote about this in a lot of different letters back and forth, that there were always going to be a vast majority of the American people that weren't going to be informed on issues. So that's the reason we were a republic and not a democracy. In a republic, even if the majority of the people are uninformed, they still can't take the rights of those that are informed. But that's also the reason you have Democrats now pushing for us to be a true democracy, so they can use the overall ignorance of the American people to then strip the rights away from the rest of the American people.
Oh, they don't want us to be a democracy. They want us to go full-blown socialist.
Oh, well, so socialism is on that ladder, but they've got to get us to the point of being complete mob rule, which is what democracy is. Once you get the whole mob rule, well, then you can go down socialism, communism. You can go whatever path you want to from there. But they have to get over us being a republic, and the rights of the majority don't trump the rights of the minority. And right now, that's the reason they talk about these polls and things the way they do. Well, 87% of the American people believe in this gun legislation. Well, I'm sorry, just because 87% of the American people are uninformed doesn't mean they get to strip the rights away from the rest of us that actually are informed on the subject. And you listen to the words they use, because the words they use are very much picked for a reason. They're focus tested. They're nothing more than advertising for their policies, and that's where conservatives suck at this. In a lot of cases, conservatives suck at messaging. And the hearing the other day where they had gun manufacturers up on Capitol Hill trying to call them to the carpet. Well, what about your products? The answer to a lot of those questions should have been, we are not responsible for what current criminals do. We manufacture legal products that if they are used legally will never take a life. And we're not responsible for the criminal acts of others. And when it comes to, well, these are semi-automatic copies of machine guns, well, we need to have that argument that, yes, machine guns themselves should be legal. We're supposed to live in a country where the average American citizen can own all the weapons that the government owns. But we've got a bunch of weak sauce people who are supposed to be representing our side, and they won't have that argument. Thomas Massey yesterday in the Rules Committee hearing wouldn't just flat out come out and say that. He tap danced around that subject. He wouldn't just flat out come out and say it, and he should have. And so we end up with the left in this country who hates firearms, who hates our freedoms. They get to control the argument. They get to control the terminology. They get to control the narrative. And then they have a full-fledged media freaking machine behind them that pushes their narrative for them. And we need a whole lot stronger people to actually make the arguments that need to be made. And when it comes to like them having victims of mass shootings there, it's horrible what happened to your family. It's horrible you lost loved ones. That mass shooter should burn in hell. But the rest of these people in America aren't responsible for what that mass shooter did. Go watch yours.
Yep.
What's what up to? Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We've allowed America to be turned into victim mentality.
Yeah. Well, think about just about every policy from the left or the progressives in this country, and you can track it all down to releasing a person from their responsibility and the government stepping in to become responsible for them. I don't care if it's abortion. The whole abortion argument is a release from responsibility. You're not responsible for your own actions. Firearms. You don't have to own firearms. You don't have to be responsible for your own safety. Here's the government. We're going to be responsible for your safety. Medicare, Medicaid. You don't have to be responsible for your health insurance. The government's going to take care of that. You don't have to be responsible for your own retirement choices. The government's going to take care of that. It's when you really track down these arguments to their base levels, it is absolutely insane. No one is teaching personal responsibility anymore. You're responsible for your own actions. You're responsible for your own safety. I don't carry a gun because I just want to go out and shoot people. I don't have a fire extinguisher in my house because I just feel like setting my house on fire. I don't have seatbelts in my car because I just decide I want to run into shit. It's always the responsible choices. And none of that can be government mandated, nor should be government mandated.
They're here in Oregon. They're trying to, they're going to put on the ballot in November, so that you can vote away your rights to own firearms.
Yeah. But before the government really got involved in healthcare, it was very common to have a local doctor you could call, and he would come to your house and treat you. And then you end up with government being involved, and there's layers of bureaucracy in between you and your doctor. And then don't even mention all the malpractice insurance that these doctors have to carry. So it drove healthcare out of the ballpark where you could actually afford it without having to have all of these huge healthcare programs. It's the more government gets involved in things, they're like a cancer. The worse the cancer gets.
I think it's a little bit telling that doctors will have a cash price, which is cheaper than insurance price.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Look, but before Obamacare hit, I was working at a place. I was basically contract working. I didn't have insurance through them, but I could pay for all of my health care out of pocket, and it wasn't breaking the bank. When Obamacare hit, not only did they cut my hours at that job to get around the Obamacare mandates, but then even doctors weren't doing the cash work like they were doing at one point. So it made me to where I was working, 3 times as much to be able to afford the level of care that I was making working comfortably one job. And yeah, you can go to doctors in a lot of cases, like getting an MRI done, $500 MRI. If you went through Medicare, Medicaid, your insurance program. Hell, my girlfriend at the time, she had insurance. She used her insurance for an MRI. She had to pay $1,200 off the rip. And then the insurance picked up. I paid $500 or $400 for mine and had the same type of MRI done.
So before Obamacare, I could go into a walk-in clinic, $50, even if it was billed.
Yeah.
You were billed like $50. Now you walk into urgent care, walk-in clinic, and you're talking $250 up front, and then they'll bill you whatever's left over.
Yeah.
After the fact.
It's I've said it many times. The more government gets involved in a situation, the worse it gets. You can look at it. The opioid crisis is huge right now, but it's gone from people using prescription pain meds to people dying by the truckload on fentanyl. We had a whole lot less deaths when people were just abusing pain pills themselves and doctors were giving them out like candy. Now you've had people move on to drugs like fentanyl, heroin, a bunch of other really hardcore heavy drugs, and the situation hasn't got any better at all. It's the same way with guns. If we allow them to push through, I'll be making some more calls and writing some more letters coming up this week to my Congress critters. If we allow them to push through this next assault weapons ban, it's only going to make things worse. The criminals aren't going to care. They're going to shoot you just as much because they kill more people with handguns than they do with assault weapons anyway. It's not going to stop anything. But it'll make me, you, and a lot of other people felons.
Well, and they're saying, well, there's the clause, the grandfather clause is still in there. You'll still be able to own what you own. Depending on how you read it.
If these weapons were so bad, if they were such a crisis in the first place, why grandfather? If it was so bad, why grandfather? They still use the same arguments about machine guns. Well, machine guns are banned. No, the hell they're not. They're just really, really damn expensive because it's a limited market. And unless you have a 07 SOT, you can't make your own machine guns. Now, if some people in Congress had any balls to them at all, they would do a quick YouTube search and show these idiots these machine gun shoots, and then these idiots would realize there are a fuckload of machine guns in private hands right now.
Machine guns are dangerous unless you have $200.
Yeah, that $200 just, it makes that machine gun it turns it from like a freaking Tasmanian tiger or some shit into a little itty bitty kitten because you paid the government $200. But then you can go look at shootings right now where these guys are using Glock switches constantly. So obviously that machine gun ban, that really solved the problem, didn't it?
Well, that's kind of like the in Washington we just had the magazine limit that was passed, but
yeah,
when they were debating it last year, they tried to get 10 rounds and then they changed it to 12 rounds because they said they were trying to find something that would be agreeable for people. Well, that just proves that it's an arbitrary number, because if 10 rounds was so important you had to pass 10 rounds, why is now 12 rounds okay?
Yeah, it's an absolutely arbitrary number. That's why this assault weapons ban they're putting through now has a 15 round limit. They don't realize how quick you can change a mag. There were some police officers couple years ago when they started talking about mag bans again, who did some videos themselves and said, look, this is how long it takes to change a mag. Shoot, drop, change, back in the fight. So there's no time for someone to rush you during that. This idea that, oh, if they only have 10 rounds, well, they won't be able to shoot as many people is horseshit. If not, what are they going to do? They'll just carry more guns. You know, instead of carrying one handgun and a few mags, well, I might carry 3 handguns.
Well,
So-
we can talk about what happened at Greenwood in Indy.
Mm-hmm.
That idiot had 2 AR platforms and at least 1 handgun.
Yeah.
So, yes, a good guy with a gun stopped him from being able to, get into, his second weapon, his third weapon. He had over 100 rounds with him, according to, what's being said is he had over 100 plus rounds and 3 firearms.
Yeah. When someone wants to go out, when they are going to go out and they want to take innocent lives, do you think any law that you make is going to really stop them? They already don't care about murder. So you think they care about, I don't know, carrying a mag that's been modified or carrying more than one firearm, or all you're doing is, and it's, we've seen the numbers before. All you do is you disarm people and you leave them defenseless when someone comes in to commit a shooting like that. Thankfully, this guy at that mall has the same condition I have. When he sees that little no gun sign, his brain doesn't recognize it, so he just walked right past it.
Well, but he also realized that carried no weight of law.
Mm-mm.
So, like Foss and I, our states, just because you have that no Beretta sign, doesn't mean you can't carry a firearm in there.
No.
Now, if you carry a firearm in there and an employee or the owner notices you have a firearm, they can ask you to leave. If you
Yep.
refuse to leave, then it becomes trespassing.
Yep.
Just like the store has the right to refuse you service. They don't have to give a reason. If they say, you know what, hey, guess what? You, and they point at you, can't shop here. You need to leave. And you say, you can't do that. I'm going to keep shopping here. Guess what? They can call the cops and have you removed for trespassing.
Yeah, and that's why I really don't give a flying rat's ass about a lot of the signs that you'll see on stores. One, I'm carrying concealed. If I'm doing my job carrying concealed, 98% of the time, no one's going to know I'm carrying anyway, because I'm carrying concealed. Now, if I've got to pass through metal detectors, that's different. I've got to deal with that as it comes. Like if I've got to go to a courthouse and I have to pass through metal detectors, I have to make allowances for something like that. I try to just avoid those situations in the first place. But at least when I'm passing through that metal detector, everybody in there should be on the same footing. But now if I'm just walking in a store and there's a no gun sign up there, yeah, they can shove that right in their ass. I'm still going to be carrying. And I do believe, I think you might have said it earlier, when people are harmed in gun-free zones because they disarmed themselves to go in that gun-free zone, then yeah, they should be able to sue whoever put that gun-free zone sign up and sue the politicians that push for it. Because you made me leave my defense. You made me take my defense off to go in this area. So you should be responsible for me while I'm in that area. That goes for our federal politicians if they vote for this shit. If you force me to be unarmed in an area and something bad happens in that area under a policy that you created, you need to be responsible for your damn policy.
Absolutely. Mr. Foss, were you going to say something?
I agree. I don't. For Washington, since the gun-free zone signs don't carry weight, I don't pay them any mind.
No, I'm not going to. Yeah, I didn't pay carry permits mine for a long time. I finally went and got one. And now, when Alabama gets their constitutional carry passed, I will probably go and let my carry permit lapse, because the only places I'm going in between here and Georgia are both constitutional carry states. Now, if I had to make a trip to go into an area where I had to cross through states that weren't constitutional carry, yeah, I might pick a permit back up. Just long enough for me to do my business and be clear, and then my permit can go to hell again, because I have to deal with tyrants at some point in my life.
So now, with your state going constitutional, if you have your permit, does that not act as your background check?
No, Alabama doesn't.
Okay.
See, well, Alabama got caught.
Yeah.
Well, some sheriff's departments in Alabama got caught that they weren't even running background checks. They were just charging money and giving people permits. So there was a letter sent out from the ATF where a lot of states, you can use that as your background check. A letter went out and said, no, don't let Alabama do this, because they weren't properly vetting people. So I can't, like, if I go over to Georgia and I go to buy a long gun or something like that, I can't use my carry permit as my background check. Or I can't use it in Alabama as a background check either. I still have to go through 4473, still got to fill out the paperwork, still got to go through the regular NICS check.
Like, I know if you have your concealed carry in Oregon, it doesn't act as, but you fill out your 4473, they submit to NICS, and if you put your concealed carry number on there, then it speeds up the process. So instead of it taking 10 days during the scandemic to get that background check back, it might take you 5 hours.
Yeah, and that's a possibility with some of it. But hell, my mom was held up. We were talking about the other night. She went and got, I think it was a Ruger LCP, probably about a year ago. They held her up for 3 days, which is absolutely insane. It's not like the woman's got a criminal record, not like she's ever had a criminal record. But it's another reason I don't like the background check. It doesn't stop anybody from getting guns in the first place. But what if there had been an issue where she could have possibly needed that gun for self-defense, and that's why she went to go get it, was for self-defense? Well, you just hung her up for 3 days, just because NICS wanted to play fuck games with something.
Yeah, it's like the wife and I, we can go in and do 4473s. Hers, is going to go through super quick, except for during the scandemic when they decided to lay like 90% of the people off. And so you had a list of like 3,000 names on there that they had to run background checks on. When I do my 4473, I'm going to get talked to by the State Patrol office every single time. Even when I put the U-pin on there, I get, oh, you're denied. Well, once any denial happens in Oregon, it's an automatic trigger to the state patrol office, who then has to come out and talk to you. You would think they, be like, oh, we know this guy. No, I get talked to every time. I show them the same paperwork every time. Here you go. They make the phone call and say, hey, you guys, he's okay to buy firearms.
I had to go check on the kiddos real fast.
Yeah. Like mine, every time I do a 4473, I get denied. And even when I put the U pin on there, I still get denied. Talk to the state patrol office. They call NICS. They call the Oregon NICS, and then they're like, oh, yeah, okay, he can proceed. It becomes a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah. Dude, so far I've been lucky enough where all of my NICS checks have gone through within probably, 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. It's probably the longest I've had to wait on one so far. But still, when you think about the NICS system itself and the fact that 90-something% of the results that it stops people from buying a firearm are all false positives,
it did.
Just lets you know the system's retarded.
It did. Yes, it.
I mean, I understand why mine gets flagged every time. Guess what? Yeah. When I was a kid, I did stupid shit. I, committed felonies. But it cost me $5,000 to get my rights back.
Mm-hmm.
I've done my time. I did the crime. I did my time. I've done everything I have to do. And you would think that after you get your rights restored that, hey, guess what? They could figure out how to erase your name from the system.
Well, they can, but they're just not doing it. And, it takes them as much time to erase your name from it as it does to put your name in it, which is a couple keystrokes and then an enter key. That's as much effort as that takes. It's another reason I say that I don't care if someone commits a felony, they do their time, their probation, all the other shit. They should have their rights restored. Period. End of story. There shouldn't even be a question about it. If they're so violent that they can't have these things, then they shouldn't even be out on the damn street in the first damn place.
So to answer mandatory carry, I was able to vote when I turned 18. So my voting rights were returned actually, I think I first voted when I was 21, but they returned that without ever having to go and fight to petition. But when I want to buy a firearm or anything like that, I had to go and have my juvenile record expunged and then sealed. Then I had to have it unsealed to have my rights restored to reseal it again.
And see, that's just them. It's them playing games with the stuff. Is all it is.
Hamster.
Go. And it had a conversation with plenty of people that, again, whether or not you broke a law, whether or not you committed a felony, if you are safe enough to be on the street, then you should be safe enough to own and have all of your rights restored to you. The only time you should be deprived of those rights is if you are in the care of the state. In other words, you are incarcerated. when you are not under the care of the state anymore, you should have your rights back. And then if you turn around and prove again that you are not responsible with those rights and your ass goes back to jail, well, guess what? You lose your rights again. And when you mention something like that, people will go, what about rapists? What about child molesters? Well, I don't believe they should be out on the street in the first fucking place. So those people aren't even an issue to me. You molest children, you rape women, your ass ought to be in prison for life and the death penalty. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, you're showing predatory, tendencies.
This person gets out of jail and they turn around and they go rob somebody, they go murder somebody. Okay, well, when you put them back in jail, guess what? They don't get out again. You've just proven that you are not a law-abiding citizen. You're not a person who can be a productive member of society. And yes, you get to go live in a cage and not come out again. You don't play well with others. But if I do commit that felony and then I come out and then I can, do all my time and everything, well, all my rights should come back. And then until I prove to the state that I am not a member of society, well, then I get to keep my rights.
So I've got a question from Red Dog, which is a new person to the channel. It says, how do you answer the question on the form about felony? Answer it just like somebody who has never committed a crime.
Yeah.
Because if you actually go through and you read, once your rights have been restored, once your record has been expunged, then you don't have to mark that you've ever been convicted of a felony.
No. And I can back G23 up on this. And here's how I can back him up. When I was about 23, I caught a felony. Ended up doing it's supposed to be a 5-2. I was supposed to get 2 years in prison, 5 years on probation. I did 1 year on probation, or 1 year in jail, did 5 years on probation. When I got my rights back, I had to pay $2,500 to have stuff expunged. And now when I fill out a 4473, I click no, I'm not a felon. Just like I was never convicted. That stuff is all sealed. I did my time. I paid restitution, did all my probation, stood on my head, did everything that I had to do to be a nice little good boy. And once I got my rights back, I have all of my rights. So when I go fill out a 4473, no, I don't say anything about, convicted of a felon. No, I wasn't. But it's also how I know how fast that they can take all that stuff off your record and seal your records.
Yep. So, we got Clint Brook out there from the UK. Welcome. And
Chicago Mike was asking, what's the status on the assault weapons ban? Well, it passed the House, so it'll be after August. We'll see what it does in the Senate. So
now, my question is will Chucky, or not, will it be brought to a floor vote?
Oh, Chuck will bring it up.
Yes.
Chuck knows all he has to do is get Manchin and Sinema on board, and I do believe he will get them on board. He'll bring it to the Senate. Especially if they do everything that I think they're going to do, like get rid of the filibuster and try to pack the Supreme Court. Yeah, he's going to bring it to the floor.
See, now, Manchin and Sinema both have said they will never flip and vote to do away with the filibuster because they know how it could be used against them at a further date. Now, they're the only two that have kind of got some brains to them on, yeah, guess what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah. But I do believe they're going to offer probably movement on some other legislation that Manchin wants and that Sinema wants. And I think they're going to get him to budge. I think they're going to get him to bend. And again, it's another situation where if I'm wrong on this, I'll be the happiest person about being wrong that you've ever seen. But knowing politics and following it as long as I have and watching these Democrats as long as I have, I don't think I'm wrong.
So, what was it? Kentucky, one of the counties in Kentucky has issued they're saying that he needs to step down and retire due to the fact that he voted for the red flag law. Crap. Now,
Mitch McConnell?
yes. They're calling for his resignation, and they're saying that other counties in the state need to do the same and vote to censure him and remove him from office.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, basically what they're saying is the Republican Party won't support him anymore. If you look at how long this guy's been there, and if you look at how short people's memories are, McConnell's going to be around for a while, unless something seriously changes. But McConnell hasn't been any friend to any
2A.
kind of really 2A or actually conservative policies in a very long time. So, I mean, McConnell's worried more about his position. McConnell's more worried about his position and his power than he is anything.
Yeah, G-Web says one small county. But sometimes it's one, you got to get that ripple started to see how many more ripples go.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Someone's got to get the ball kicked off. But it's kind of like Virginia. If you look at Virginia, give me that. If you look at Virginia, look at how many counties in Virginia are sanctuary counties for guns. And then you look at the way that state voted and all the policies that have passed in that state in the last while. One county, 2 counties, even in Virginia's case, 10 counties, 20 counties going off on this hasn't deterred these people from wanting to push through their anti-gun policies.
Absolutely. And I do want to welcome some new names that I see out in the crowd and say hello. I know we got Mr. Burnaby Sanchez, who's been with us for quite a while. I want to say hello to Red Dog. And glad to see Chicago Mike out there. And Clint Brook, welcome. Hopefully you guys like what you're hearing and decide you want to come back for more. So, Mr. Pony 47 is out there. Welcome. So, Mr. Foss, do you have a show tonight?
Yes. It's what time? 11 p.m. Pacific. Whatever time you are metric over there on the East Coast. I don't know what.
Yeah, we're East Coast down here.
But yeah, I figured we just talk about the scary black rifle stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be the big topic for the next little while, and then sometime after their August recess, then we'll figure out, or we'll see what they're going to do in the Senate. But if they really want to push this stuff through, they're going to have to do something before November. That's going to be the big question, is what they're going to do before then. If they don't do anything by November, and the November elections go like I hope they will, which is we will actually get a bunch of Republicans in that will actually stand up for the Constitution, then we're going to be looking really good.
I kind of think that's
still president.
I kind of think that's part of why they pushed this the way they did, was the fear of losing their majority. So they're trying to cram through as fast as they could.
That's why I don't put it past them to try the filibuster and to pack the Supreme Court, because they know in November, if we have straight up elections in November, Democrats are going to lose their asses. We should see some of the biggest majorities in the House and the Senate that we have ever seen. I don't put anything past the Democrats. I don't. They are people that can't be honest about their policies or their positions. And they're people that can't go about things in an ethical, honest manner. If they tried that and the American people really saw what they stood for, the Democrat Party wouldn't even exist.
Quick for 9mm. Coop is CNT Design and Arms. I dropped a link in the chat a little bit earlier for his channel.
I'm a guy who drinks and smokes and talks about gun laws. This is basically my stick.
Yeah.
Guns and shoot guns.
The Cancer Mouse says, CNT, my kids, say hello to your kids.
Oh, yeah.
And Miss Vanessa Kitty says, hi, Coop kids.
So, I will make sure I give the kiddies a nice bunch of hugs and kisses for you guys, for sure. They don't blow the house up in between now and then.
So, the Cancer Mouse says, it's so hot here, the kids became nuke shadows on the sidewalk.
Damn, you're like Hiroshima then, isn't it?
Hey, yesterday we were down in Grants Pass. It was 109 degrees.
Oh man, that's brutal.
We went down to Medford after we got done in Grants Pass, and it was 112.
Yeah, we're at 98 right now.
Last I had checked, we were only at 89, but that was a couple hours ago. 93 right now. What's your humidity level there, Foss?
Oh, that's what I was trying to see. I don't have it.
It's 93 with 46% humidity here.
There we go. Oh, it's only 22%. Not too bad.
No, God, man, I'm in Alabama. Our humidity is normally about 4,000 damn percent.
When I saw it was only 46, I was like, "Hey, that's actually pretty tolerable." 22%, that's downright desert right there.
Oh yeah, 22% humidity. Shit. Your sweat will actually dry at that point.
Mike White says 85 degrees in Compton. So, yeah, yesterday it was, what was it, 64% humidity in triple digits. It was nasty.
Oh man, dude, I haven't even been outside today. I've been messing around with the kiddos inside all day. We slept in and chilled out. So and I haven't even paid attention to the temperature today besides walking out the truck and it's like, damn, it's hot. Oh, I love my AC.
Yeah, it's still in
right
the
back in the house.
G23. We just had a heat pump put in April, and I'm loving it.
Oh, okay. So, Tactical Fud, he's rubbing it in. He's like, it's 72 degrees here.
Yeah, it's not 72 degrees here. At least it hasn't been today.
So, yeah. I should have done this when you first came on the panel. Mr. Coop, you want to kind of give a background of who you are, what your channel is, and where people can find you,
Yeah.
and then tell us how you're doing in school?
Yeah, I'm an old fat ugly guy that smokes a lot, drinks a lot, and talks about gun laws, and apparently pays way too much attention to Congress. C&T Designs and Arms, starting up a company doing plasma cut artwork and getting into firearms later is the plan. You can find me on you can look me up by looking for C&T Designs and Arms on YouTube. Instagram, it's CNT_designs, something else behind it. I always forget Instagram.
You've got a sales site too, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a Lexi shop that hasn't done anything. So some of the cuts that you guys have probably seen them where I've done the LED lighting on the back of them and stuff like that. I'm going to put a bunch of those up on eBay shortly. Matter of fact, this next week, once I finish up a couple of the signs, I'm going to post a bunch of them. And we'll see how those do there until I can get probably my own site up and running. Doing SDI classes right now, Sonoran Desert Institute. Just finished my second semester. Monday, I start my third semester with them. Doing the associate's degree with them, learning more about firearms, and really just trying to improve my skills as a gunsmith. If you look on, I think I've got some posted on YouTube, some posted on Instagram. You can see things where we've hydro dip parts, we've Parkerized parts. Some of the troubleshooting videos, like on the 19 that I now carry, troubleshooting some trigger issues with that. Hopefully trying to help some people out. But yeah, I'm pretty much all over the map, and still, like yesterday, doing 8 hours worth of watching Congress try to strip away our rights. So I try to keep up with a lot of different things, and then of course keep up with G23 and everybody, and Foss hanging out and just shooting the breeze. Just all over the map. So that's my little fat self in a nutshell. And now it gets quiet.
That's because I forgot that my mic was muted. So
I've done that before.
If you guys look, all the signs that are behind him, those are all ones that he has done.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them. A lot of the ones that you'll see behind me have bill names and everything written or cut into them for bills that I covered. And then I quit doing that, so you'll just see different plasma cuts for them. And I've got that wall right there doesn't cover the rest of what's on that wall and the rest of what's laying around me. So there's a ton of stuff laying around here.
So Miss Ting Ting, the cancer mouse, says, someday I'll get you to give me a Ting Ting design cut.
Dude, Ting, I've got to work on one for Vanessa Kitty this week. Hell, we'll work on one. If you want the cancer mouse thrown in there, if you just want the Ting Ting, I'll put a design together for you. Okay, just finished one up for HPS. Just got some stuff drawn up for him. Should be doing some cuts for him shortly. Knight Custom Arms, just finished up a design for him I showed off yesterday. Got to tweak it a little bit, and then we'll figure out how exactly we want to do the rest of the sign, but got the artwork worked out for him. So yeah, I got a bunch going on in between that, and then classes and kids and life and building guns and shooting guns. Yeah, it's it's a lot of irons in the fire some days.
So, Rob says the no gun sign kind of makes you wonder.
Oh yeah, that was one I covered for another bill. I can't remember which one it was because I didn't cut the bill sign into that one. But it was another gun ban bill that was just more ridiculous shit. One of my favorite ones is the ATF pointing the gun at the dog and the family in the background. That's always one of my favorite cuts.
G-Web says that is a no 9mm sign. That's okay.
Hey, just for you, G-Webs, I can cut a sign like that and put 9mm with it. That way, it's a no 9mm gun sign.
I think he would love that if you did that for him. he would rock that all day long.
Oh yeah, he would. Yeah, you get tactical FUD squared away. I need an Elmer FUD toting like an AR logo for tactical FUD. Yeah, hopefully branching out to a bunch of other graphic designs. I'm looking into the equipment to actually do like the mag engraving for AR mags and stuff like that, but that's some expensive stuff. You're talking fiber lasers once you get up there, and that's a few $1,000s just to get rolling. So that'll be more stuff coming. And then once I get, of course, my FFL squared away, and then I can really start building in earnest, that'll be a good time.
So Rob D says that he wants a no Glock sign made.
Oh, we can do that simple, man. You just want it like the Glock logo with a big, slash through it. Yeah, that's simple enough.
He says a no Glock sign would be perfect.
I'm gonna break G23's heart.
Yeah, I like all firearms. I don't really care what,
For the longest time, I didn't really care about Glocks until I actually built the first couple of Polymer 80s that I built, and then really got into where I like them. Am I going to go pick up a Glock off the shelf and be like, "Oh, hey, this is my new Glock"? Oh, hell no! I'm going to build it.
I didn't want to like Glocks, and then I shot the 48, I think, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then my G20, I love shooting my G20.
The first Polymer 80 I built was a 17 size frame. And when I put that gun together and put a red dot on top of it, and that thing just shot flat out, lights out, there's no way I couldn't like it. I was always a steel frame gun kind of guy until I built that gun. And then that was like, okay, it doesn't make me gay, I guess. But
so welcome my buddy over on the coast, Mr. CB, who had to poke fun at me in his last video by saying that he had to turn his heater on because it got cold while we're doing triple digits over here.
Well, yeah, there ain't no danger of getting cold in Alabama anytime soon. Of course, we've got gator season coming up. We'll be hunting gators in Georgia, but it'll be right down here on the river, right next to us. So hopefully, I'll get some pretty good footage of that, and everybody get to see some gator hunts down here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can understand. Overnight, it probably does get a little cool on the ocean, having that ocean breeze. Because last Saturday we were over on the ocean, and it was like 65 degrees and sunny.
Oh man!
It was a perfect day to be on the beach. And then the first beach I went to, I put the video out, and in spots on the beach there were people, but where I was, it was pretty empty, and everything. I didn't have to really deal. It was a great day to be out on the beach.
Dude, it sounds like it. Well, that's one thing about the Pacific up there. I remember swimming in Puget Sound when I was a kid, and it may be balls ass hot outside, but that damn water was cold as hell anyway. So, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll be putting another video out. I just gotta figure out in editing. I'm not the greatest in editing, so
Neither am I.
I want to show, what it sounded like with the microphone from my cell phone, and then what it sounds like running my DJI wireless mics. Because I'm telling you, if you listen to the video on my cell phone, you can catch like half a word every 2 minutes because the wind is just whipping so hard.
Oh, yeah.
With the DJI mic, it's so clear. You're hearing conversations that are happening in the background.
And dude, one of these days, I guess, I'll end up getting some more stuff to film with and record with. Like when I was out at the range the other day, hell, I'm still just filming off of my cell phone, still just regular old mic, on my cell and all that. So, yeah, one of these days I'm going to have to step my game up and get some better recording equipment.
So, I still use my cell phone and everything, and a lot of times your cell phone, the video quality is just as good or better than some of your cameras. It's the mics.
Yeah.
And that DJI mic, it's cheaper than going with like a Rode mic. And you get 2 microphones. So if you decide you're going to have an interview, or you and your wife go to the gun range and you can have the conversation, and her mic will record her audio separately, then your mic's going to record your audio. So if you have to go through because maybe she's talking softer, you can take and bump her volume up without doing anything to your volume, because they're each microphone records its own audio. So you can edit separately, unlike with the Rode, where even if you're running 2 microphones, it goes into the same wave recording.
Yeah.
So then you have to go and isolate each wave file in that recording to then be able to edit. So it's a lot more steps and a lot harder. And if you're a rookie, or you're not super computer savvy, you're going to have a lot more trouble with that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. Learning editing is something I haven't played around with a whole lot until I started doing some stuff on YouTube. And yeah, learning to get in there and edit some sound and edit video and stuff. Yeah, it's not my favorite thing to do. So if I had something to make it easier, say if I was, if I was at the range with the wife and we were talking and I could go in and make that part of the editing easier, yeah, that'd be a pretty slick deal.
And the nice thing is like with the DJI mics, it comes with everything you need. So your receiver, you can plug it into a Type-C. It comes with the adapter so that you can plug it into an iPhone. And then it comes with the double 3.5 millimeter jack, so that if you're going to a regular camera or a cell phone that has a 3.5, you can also plug it in that way.
Oh, that's good.
And it's all one setup, and it comes in a nice carrying case. It comes with the wife hates it when I say it, but they're the dead cats to reduce your wind noise. And these little microphones, I swear they're not much bigger than a 50-cent piece and weigh nothing.
Oh, those sound slick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just another one of those things. It's, you know, when I get around to it and you know, I'll start updating some more stuff like that. It's throwing a lot of money at a lot of other stuff right now, so I'm gonna stick with what I got, and then I'll move up from there. I mean, just like everybody else does, you know, you move up when you can.
Yeah. So, like, I had bought a camera, but then I found out that I couldn't hook external mics up to it.
Yeah.
So I sent the camera back, not researching that I, like, with the mic setup that I have now, I could have still kept that camera. I could have shut the microphone off on the camera and done all the audio using my mics. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe someday I'll go back and get a different camera, or I'll just stick with using my cell phone. You know, my cell phone does nice quality video.
Yeah, the only thing on my cell, doing a lot for my cell is freaking memory. That's the constant fight with it. You know, shooting videos, whether it's for my channel or in some cases I had to shoot videos for assignments for SDI, and it's a constant fight in between. All right, what can I get rid of now? That way I can get more space.
Go get you. They're dirt cheap. You can pick up. I have a 1 terabyte external hard drive.
Yeah.
And so then I have an adapter which I got off of Amazon. That goes from your connection that hooks into your computer and goes to a Type-C connection. So I can plug my 1 terabyte hard drive right into my phone.
That's awesome. Man, I got to check into getting one.
And then I can just sit there and transfer the files right over to that hard drive so that they're always backed up. I back up all my stuff. And so I keep a lot of my memory free on my phone, but also I can use up to a 1 terabyte micro SD card in my phone. So I could have, you know, unlimitless amount of memory, because I could always just get multiple 1 terabyte micro SD cards if I wanted to do that. And then I have a little adapter. Lighting kind of sucks, but I'm gonna show this here. You can see there's a micro SD. I can plug a micro SD in here. I can plug I can go from this one as a micro USB, and I can take and go into the computer. So I can do it either way, and I can also do it with SDs. So I can copy the files from here and transfer them over. And I think that cost me $6 or something on Amazon.
Yeah, I just jumped over to Amazon just to look real fast to see whether I could look at a couple things, because I'm going to have to get an external hard drive. That way I can pull a lot of this stuff over there and not just have to worry about the memory on my damn phone all the time.
Do you have a Costco membership?
Nah, we don't have a Costco anywhere near us down here.
Or Sam's Club.
Yeah, Sam's Club, yeah.
So you could probably get them there also dirt cheap.
How much do you pay for your 1 terabyte drive?
I got it for free.
Well, that's a good price.
So one of my buddies worked as a maintenance man in an apartment building, and people moved out of the apartment and left the 1 terabyte hard drive behind, and
Oh yeah.
they notified the people, hey, if you want this, you got 30 days to come claim it. They never came and got it, and he's like, I don't know what it is, and I don't have a data cable, blah, blah. I was like, I'll take the hard drive. And for the cord, it cost me, I think it was like $4 for a new data cable.
Oh, well, that's freaking, yeah.
And you can pick up 1 terabyte hard drives for under like $50.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to spend some time looking, because if I can pick up, 1 terabyte or something like that for an external drive, and then I can push all my content over to that, then yeah, that's going to be perfect. Because then I'm not having to worry about all the keeping all the crap on my damn phone and then transferring it back to the computer, and then if I got to bring it back to my phone, and it just becomes this freaking snake that you got to deal with.
Just a quick little Google search. You can get right here a 16 terabyte. We can go with like these little, like, $26.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be spending me some Amazon bucks here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an external hard drive, right? I mean, that's all just
Yeah.
external storage.
So you can get a Seagate, which is a pretty good brand. You're talking $50.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen tonight more than likely.
And then it should come with the cable. And if you type in, what is it? Type C. Adapter plug. Oh, well, this is going. You can go with something like this here. You can go $9. But you can get the other ones that have a Type C connection here, and then has, so this is the reverse of what I have. This one takes your Type C and then makes it so you can plug it into your computer, but you can get that same thing so that you can plug it right into your computer, into your cell phone, and transfer the files. Makes it really, really super easy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'll allow me to clean up a lot of stuff on my phone and actually save me a whole hell of a lot of time. because that's one of the biggest things I fight with right now is just the storage and the damn time it takes.
Yep. So,
because look at it now. Right now, that Seagate, this is a 2 terabyte external hard drive, $59.
yeah.
So hell yeah.
And you factor how many videos it's going to take to put for 1 terabyte.
Oh God, man. Yeah, it's that's
Now,
gonna.
If you are, using 4K video, you're probably going to eat up a lot more memory a lot quicker. But it's still, you're going to have the ability to, store quite a bit of videos.
Oh yeah. And so that's
and if by chance something ever happens to your channel, you have all those videos backed up so that if you restart a channel or you go to another platform, you can just upload all those videos.
yeah, and that's like, hell, I've had an Odyssey channel for a while, but I haven't put anything on it. So eventually I'm gonna have to bring everything over from here over from YouTube to Odyssey and get all that uploaded.
So depending on, I know Odyssey will auto. They'll go. You can tell them, and they'll auto pull the videos over. I use Utreon, and every one of my videos automatically goes over to Utreon.
Yeah, Utreon's another site I'm going to have to check into. I know Hank Strange and a lot of other guys have got a lot of content they're posting over there. And then being able to handle guns and stuff without having to jump through all the hoops on YouTube is pretty damn slick.
So, and another nice thing about like Utreon is you can go live using the Duck. So using StreamYard.
Yeah.
You can go live over on Utreon. And unlike Rumble, Utreon doesn't charge you per like megabyte or whatever that you use. Because like with Rumble, you have to prepay for how much bandwidth and stuff to be able to live stream. And then the quality isn't that great. So, and to answer G-Webs, yes, and truly, G-Webs, with you having the paid version of the Duck, you can go in there and get the what's that called? The destination, and manually, copy it from Utreon and then enter it into the Duck, and then you just start the live stream and go. So that's the only thing that kind of sucks about Utreon right now is that you have to create. It's kind of like using GunTube. If you don't, but if you use GunTube and their deal, you have. If you want to use it over on YouTube, you have to create the lives. Then you have to like go live in the GunTube chamber, and then click live over on YouTube for it to actually start working. So it kind of adds a couple steps, but you can do it that way also.
Yeah, I haven't so far. I don't think I've done anything on Utreon yet, but it's just a matter of time before I think a lot of people are going to get forced that way or to other sites like it just because, let's face it, YouTube has already gotten stupid on a lot of things. I don't see them getting any smarter anytime soon.
Yep, they don't. So I always say, and a lot of us say, is the more sites you're on, especially backing up your work on multiple sites.
Yeah.
If one of them, like, people are talking to what's it, MeWe, starting to cancel people. And so, what's to say that Rumble won't start to cancel people? YouTube canceling people. So, Utreon is owned by some people that are actually involved with like Tusk. And so they are 2A friendly.
Yeah. Well, it's just when you have these senators and stuff that they did, and they wrote letters to YouTube, and of course, they put a hurting on a lot of good gun content, and then more of that'll just keep happening. So, and YouTube and a lot of these other execs say, well, they're just spineless, so they'll give in to that pressure. I'm surprised my channel has lasted as long as it has, and it ain't been around that long.
Yep. Yes, mandatory carry. They have started canceling 2A channels.
They cancel them, give them strikes, take down their content for no reason whatsoever with no explanation.
Big Al says that his ex was great at canceling his bank accounts.
I don't need any exes doing that. I'm good at canceling my own bank accounts.
So the gun-toting pacifist, Coop is CNT Designs, and Mr. Foss did throw a link earlier in the chat.
I'll repost it here.
Yeah, he.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, he's presently on Amazon ordering external hard drives right now. That way I can take some of the pressure off of my phone, because my phone has gotten to where even when I try to clean out memory space, it doesn't always clean it out like it should. So it's always showing it's got 4 times the amount of stuff on it that it actually has, which drives me up a freaking wall.
Yep.
There's a link for Coop's channel.
Most of the stuff that's really eating up a lot of content on my phone is all like audiobooks right now. Me and Audible are friends. But are you posting pretty regular over on Utreon right now, G? Or
so every time I post a video or go live here on YouTube,
yeah,
it automatically goes over there.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. What's the content looking like? I haven't been over there and looked at it in the last probably few months. So I mean, what's the content looking like over there? Are there quite a few people posting really good content over there right now, or is it's still pretty spread out?
Honestly, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to that analytics. Honestly,
Well, that's it. it's like a lot of people have said. YouTube right now is still pretty much the big dog. They were the first in. They were the best dressed. So they've got the most traction. But it's still better to be out there on a lot of other platforms because you look at what YouTube's done in the past little while. They've really stripped some people out that. Hell, Marine gun builder, right before that last letter went to Congress, he shut all his stuff down on YouTube. And I haven't heard anything else about what he was doing, but he had what? I can't remember how many. He had tons and tons of followers. Huge channel. Just gone overnight. Due to all this ghost gun shit.
So this is what I have. And it was $9. And it's USB-C to USB adapter.
Yep, that'll do the job.
And then it plugs right into your phone. So.
Which it's pretty similar to what I just ordered. Went ahead and ordered that 2 terabyte drive and then an adapter and something else. But anyway, so hopefully that'll do the job.
The hard drive should come with this cord, but if not, you can get a 3.3 foot cord for $7.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's pretty slick, man. I'm glad you mentioned it tonight because that'll take a lot of pressure off me trying to find the space to actually get videos or to bring videos over to edit and stuff like that. That'll take a lot of pressure off that.
So with 50 votes on the poll, both came in at 61%. Sporting weapons ban was 22%. PLCCA repealed 6%. And You're Crazy, Rhinos Won't Flip got 12% of the
whoever
vote.
those 12% are, just run outside and go play in a fire ant pile real fast. Because these Rhino Republicans will sell us out any chance they get. And there were 2 Republicans in the House. There were actually more Democrats that voted against that bill in the House yesterday than there were Republicans that voted for it. But there were 2 Republicans that voted for the assault weapons ban yesterday. And if it's anything like when this protecting our kids or whatever bill went through this last time, you're going to have Republicans cross that line and vote for that bill.
So Defense Dad says, I use a USB to USB-C adapter for my mic since I run the entire channel from my cell phone back up to a 1 terabyte external hard drive.
Yeah.
So
and that's something I've been missing was to be able to back up to a hard drive. So now I'll have a hard drive. I'm a Prime member. It'll come in Tuesday, I think.
There you go.
Big time.
So, and it's not like you'll be able to save. Now he's running away. So, the House language was semi-auto ban. That means everything but revolvers. Pretty much. I mean, yeah, shotguns. Little 22s. So, well, Big Al, give him hell. See, and then other nice thing is, Coop, if you do your taxes online, you can also save your tax information onto that hard drive, so that when you go, if you get audited, you have all of the documentation right there, and it's all easily found. You don't have to go trying to search for papers and crap like that.
Yeah, then I just got to keep up with the hard drive. Maybe, where'd the hard drive go? I don't know. What?
Yep.
Gonna have my kid running it through his potty chair later. Hey, Dad. Gee, thanks, son.
Absolutely, Big Al. It is definitely shots across the bow, and
Yeah.
it's time to wake up. So,
Yeah, dude. Now you're 100% right. And you guys got to pay attention. They put this legislation in every single year. They might make a couple changes here and there, but they just keep resubmitting it and resubmitting it and resubmitting it until they get the traction, and then they can get it passed. Cicilline, he put this same bill in 21. I've already covered at least 2 different bills that are pretty much the same that they put in right after Joe Biden got elected. So it's just this constant march. It's the reason I call the one series that I do paper cuts. One, because I normally reference it with a plasma cut, but it's all about the legislation that the Democrats are trying to push through. And all of it is just this steady march to just take away those rights one step at a time. And they don't care whether they get passed today or tomorrow. They're just going to keep resubmitting them until they do get them passed. And it goes to show you where Republicans are, because we can't even get them to take back some of the freedom that we've lost already. There should never have been a Congress since the NFA was passed where there wasn't a bill to repeal the NFA. When the 86 bill went through, there shouldn't have been a single Congress where there wasn't a bill pushed through to repeal that. But they're still arguing over suppressors or silencers. That should be an easy. That should be a given. But even when Republicans had the House, the Congress, and the presidency, they couldn't get that shit through. So you definitely got to keep an eye on these folks, because especially now and especially before November, the Democrats are probably more dangerous right now than they've been in a very long time.
G23 had to step away for a minute.
Yeah, Big Al, which we were talking about it earlier. We'll see how they act with this assault weapons ban when they get back after this August recess. Because right now I think they're on break for like a month. So we'll see how they do when they get back with it, and see just how fast they try to push it through the Senate. And that will be the big tell on what Manchin and Sinema are going to do. Because more than likely, if Schumer brings it to the Senate, then he already knows Manchin and Sinema are going to roll over on it. Because I don't see him bringing it. If he knows it's 100% dead, I don't see him bringing it up in the Senate. Go.
Dad, who's the mouse with the eye patch? Show me his name.
That's DM False. He's another cool.
Hamster.
Go.
Hamster emoji.
Watch your show.
Hamster emoji hashtag. I do me.
My children. RTAC, Again, I still believe that if they bring it up, they'll do away with the filibuster. It's not going to have to be a 60 vote majority. And again, I hope I'm wrong about it, but I don't think they're going to let that one sit. If they actually bring it up, I think he fully intends to do away with the filibuster. And we'll see how things go. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't put anything past these people. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about your rights, my rights. They care about power and they care about control. And right now, their power and control has been hampered a bit because we actually have a Supreme Court that made constitutional decisions that actually sided with our rights and the Constitution. There's one thing Democrats don't like. It's when you actually have a Constitution that restrains what they want to do. And I still think, and Manchin and Sinema, there's bills that they've wanted on things like some civil rights legislation and other things in the past that haven't got votes. And I think they'll use that as leverage on those two to get them to flip. If they don't do it before the November elections, and as long as the November elections are on the up and up, then the Democrats are going to be fully out of power. They'll have numbnuts Biden sitting up there who can't figure out which Jello he likes best, and you'll have Kamala Harris who can't make a coherent statement, and then you'll have a Supreme Court that is fully on the side of the Constitution. You'll have the House and the Senate, which aren't going to let Democrats run through this stuff, and that's just going to be a nightmare scenario for the Democrats. So facing that nightmare or trying to slam through their agenda, regardless of what rules they have to bend and break, I'm looking for them to start bending and breaking shit. I don't think there's any way they're going to let this stuff stand. If they don't do that, and all these other courts have to go by Bruin, well, every bit of gun control that you see around the United States, as far as mag bans and carry bans and all this other stuff, within about 3 years is going to be toast. They won't even be able to hold it up in court that long. And I don't see the Democrats taking that one sitting down. Yeah, that's one thing I'm scared of. If this next election cycle is as fair and open as the last election cycle, then we're in trouble. And Terry, you're not far from it. The only reason they throw in the grandfather clause in there is so people will lay down and take it. So people will have that little bit of release. It won't be, well, they're not going to come to my house and kick my door and take my guns. So if this passes, well, we'll just have to fight this one out in the courts. And what people don't see is Democrats are putting so many judges on these courts that it's not going to be a simple court fight. Every time you turn around, the Democrats have put more judges on the circuit and district courts since Joe Biden took office than President Trump did in the entire 4 years that he was in office. And if you think any of the judges that they're voting for are going to respect the Constitution or your rights, you're a fool. They are putting activist judges on the courts, district circuits, all that. I mean, basically, probably about the dozens about every week. And it's a situation that's not going to help out any kind of 2A rights, to say the least.
So I know you you were talking about, the mag ban and all these due to Bruin not being able to stand. If they have to judge it based on Bruin, yeah, you're right. None of the assault weapon ban won't stand, and everything. My question is when are we going to go after the Brady bill? Because right there, you put the Brady bill against Bruin, it's not going to stand. Once that falls, there goes the 4473s. There goes your background checks.
The Bruin should solve a lot of that. How that goes about, I don't have any idea, because you're going to have people that actually push for that. Now I know I got no doubt people like Firearms Policy Coalition will push for it, or GOA. I don't think would have any doubt pushing for it, but I don't know, brother. I don't know how long that takes. And I don't really know what it looks like, because it should be as simple as the Bruin case. If there's no historical test for it, then it shouldn't exist. That should kill the NFA, the 34 NFA, off the rip. But, I don't think anybody's going to really try to touch that right away.
No, I mean, you have to start, sometimes you got to learn how to crawl before you can learn to walk. And so going after the mag ban, going after the AWB, going after, the roster, these are all good steps. And crawling and getting your footing and everything, and being able to figure out, okay, we're getting everything rolling. So now what's our next step? Okay, well, we need to go after the Brady bill, because unless you get rid of the Brady bill, you're never going to get rid of the 34 NFA.
Roll call. How are you saying that the Brady law is more of a choice for FFLs? You'd have to really explain that one to me, because it basically restricts an FFL to certain guidelines that they have to follow to keep their FFLs, their federal firearms licenses. And I don't agree with them having to be federally licensed.
Let's get back to having Sears being able to sell firearms like they used to be able to.
Dude, I am perfectly fine with going back to everybody is responsible for their own actions. And if I want to have a fully functional machine gun mailed to my front door, then I should be able to. People forget there was a time in this country where you really could order a machine gun through the mail, pay it cash on delivery, no background checks, no nothing. Just, I have the money, there's the product. Now I have the product and I give you the money. That's the way the whole transaction worked. And to get into this and to see where these firearm laws have changed and where they've gone from there, to look at the crime that's out there now, these firearm laws haven't stopped anything. The Hughes Amendment, which stopped people from making machine guns for regular sale. You can still make them, you just can't sell them for regular sale, and you have to have the certain licenses to make them. It didn't stop anything. All it did was it priced a lot of us out of the market, because you closed the market. So there's only a limited pool that you can draw from, and it's just driven prices up through the roof.
Absolutely, Big Al. You used to be able to, lots of hardware stores or, just regular. You you could order from J.C. Penney's or J.C. Whitney.
Yeah.
They had firearms. A lot of different clothing stores sold firearms in mail and catalogs.
Yeah, I mean, it was, of course, they're always going to use the crime to push the laws that they want, because it's never about stopping the crime. It's always about the power that they want you to give to them. If you look at the 34 NFA, one of the biggest things that was used for that was all of the crime going on with a lot of the mob groups. I think the St. Valentine's Massacre was one example that was used to actually push the 34 NFA. And they knew it was unconstitutional then. Matt from Fudbusters has pulled up some documents on it. They knew it was unconstitutional.
So, and yeah, we all know that there's almost zero profit from the selling of the firearm itself. Where most of your gun shops make the money is off of ammo and accessories. And yeah, roll call. You're absolutely right. Dick's made a business decision based on the fact that Dick's was not doing well at selling firearms. I think that where Dick's got a lot of the pushback and the hard feeling was due to the fact that they caved under pressure at that time. Were they already intending on doing away with firearms? Yes, they had already made that decision. You don't hear a lot of people giving like Big Five hell when Big Five has given up selling firearms due to the fact that Big Five is owned by like Sportsman's, which is owned by Bass Pro and Cabela's. So sometimes the way you word how you're doing stuff as a big corporate is how you're going to get the big pushback. A lot of people say, oh, we're boycotting Dick's, we're boycotting Walmart, but a lot of them still go and shop at Walmart. It's business decisions, have to happen. If you're taking a loss, at some point you have to say, okay, well, we're losing a shit ton of money having this dedicated, footing in our company to something we're barely ever making money on. And we're not really selling because, there's other gun places right around, and so they have better quality. And then with like Dick's, you got Field and Stream, which is owned by Dick's, or vice versa. So having them compete against each other, it's like, okay, well, if you're next door to each other, or you're a couple blocks away from each other, and you're just sending all your customers that want firearms, okay, well, we're going to have you all go over here to Field and Stream instead of going to Dick's, and Dick's is going to, focus more on your kid stuff. That's one business decision. So Yes, Big Al. You gotta pick. YouTube does love to unsub you from channels, so you gotta keep kind of going back and double checking. I don't know why they do that. I was actually up at like 415 channel friends, and I think last I looked, I was down to 408. So every 3 or 4 months, YouTube goes, "Oh, we're gonna go through and just start unsubbing people from people." Yeah, I mean, with Dick's doing it, I don't know exactly what their entire business is, and but I've seen around here where you have what's that, Field and Stream, which is another Dick's company, or either Field and Stream owns Dick's or Dick's owns Field and Stream, whichever it is, and they're within, I don't know, a block of each other or right next to each other, and it's like kind of stupid if you both are selling firearms and you're competing against each other. If you're the same company, you're kind of stupid.
Well, they do that stuff all the time. It's just, and in a lot of ways, it's a company or a place might have started out underneath a different ownership, and then Dick's buys them out. Well, they keep that branding. They keep that branding because the customers who were normally in that store are generally going to stay loyal to that store. And then the suppliers that supplied that store are going to stay pretty loyal to that store. So
I understand that part of it, but like if you're building to, you own both companies and you're going to build them next to each other, it's like, is that really a good business decision to put them next to each other and think that both of them are going to, especially with how little money you're going to actually make selling a firearm?
Well, in some cases, they're just kind of hedging their bets is all they're doing. That way, if somebody like Dick's, when Dick's stopped selling ARs, and a lot of people said, you know what, we're not doing business with Dick's anymore because they're giving into the mob. Well, if Dick's has another store down the road that's not named Dick's, but technically it's the same company, people don't know that.
Yep. Yeah, and it's like what I was saying when you had stepped away is, a lot of people were up in arms with Dick's doing away with selling firearms, but yet no one got up in arms because Big Five stopped selling firearms. The difference is Big Five did it quietly. They weren't making a big deal about doing away with it. They didn't make it look like they were being sold out to the mob.
Yeah.
Now, Big Five is owned by Sportsman's, who has now been bought out by Bass Pro Cabela's. So now you have all these different, and so for Big Five to give up selling firearms when they weren't making a whole lot on that, but they're making more money on, they're kind of like a Dick's. They make all their money on, tennis equipment, on soccer equipment and stuff like that. So But that's what I was saying is it's how as a corporation you go about handling your stuff. And if you cave and you make it look like to the public that you're caving to peer pressure, then you're going to probably get a lot more backlash than if you do it quietly behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They know that a lot of us as gun owners, they know a lot of people who own guns or even think about owning guns. When you hear about someone caving to this woke mob, they don't want to do business with that company. That's UPS is catching a hell of a lot of heat right now, and they need to continue to catch that heat. There's a lot of us that if I need to ship something out, I'm not shipping it UPS. They went out and try to basically shut down shipping for companies like even Brownells and others. That's a dick move.
So I see Chris from the 740 has joined in the crowd. Hopefully you're having a
hey
good
guys,
time.
I'm gonna have to bounce. I got to take care of some of these kiddos real quick.
Oh yeah, keep the kids under control.
Y'all
Later.
take it easy, guys. Later.
Damn, I was muted.
Yeah. Yeah, I see, and like Rob, I've never been into a Dick's Sporting Goods store. And I probably will never go in there. And the funny thing is there's one up in Eugene, and they're in the same parking lot as Walmart. It's like, hey, cool. The two stores that I don't do business with have joined forces. So, but yeah, hopefully Chris is having some good times hanging out with his woman. And if he wants to join, if I can send him a link or whatever. I don't know if we're going to be going too much more. So we got Mad Sexy out in the crowd. Mr. Senior Master Sergeant Bulldog has joined us. So I know a lot of the people in the side chat watched Georgia Shooting Connections on Friday. But if you don't, they are doing a fundraiser for Willie Bulletman, who was on here last year before he passed away. And they're trying to raise some funds to help his family out. And so if you go and watch Georgia Shooting Connection, like their video last night, you can get all the Zelle or other information on how to contribute to that if you so decide. There are some prizes or whatever that could have a chance of getting as a thank you for your donation to the family.
I dropped a link for that Friday chat.
Yep. Thank you, sir. So I know Willie was a really good guy, and would always answer any kind of reloading question that you had, or casting question if you were into casting. He was a great guy. Unfortunately, he was caught behind Comedy Lines, along with Mr. Mad Sexy, who's caught behind Comedy Lines, and Mike White. They all have to fight that California crap. Yes, so there's A1, A2. It's a AR platform that it's got both some A1 furniture and A2 furniture on it. 20-inch barrel, and then more of a carbine length, I think 16-inch barrel AR.
I might have a picture of it. Let me.
Oh yeah, I do have one. I don't have a picture of I do not have a picture of the 1022. So this is the outside of it, and that's what the desk cover looks like on the inside. And for people, that was the guy. He used to come and hang out. He did a couple of our Saturday chats. So this is what one of them looks like. And this one is all Aero Precision. And it's got a little over a 3-pound trigger pull. This is your other one with a 2-pound trigger pull. And this is your A1, A2 build. So I didn't say AK, I said AR. If they would have done an AK, I'd be interested. So yes, Bulldog, I did. Yep. I definitely have no problem supporting what they're doing to help a family in need, because Willie was like the sole income of the family. So the gun-toting pacifists out there giving me a bunch of crap. Yes, Rob. Friends definitely give friends AKs. I have zero problem with you giving me an AK. I understand that you can't handle that massive lead being thrown downrange. I mean, that 30 cal round is just too much for you to handle. So you can go ahead anytime you want. Just go ahead and send that AK over. Yeah. So Chris is asking about new videos from the gun-toting pacifist. I'm pretty sure that the gun-toting pacifist lost his cell phone in his last divorce. Treetops out there, welcome, bud. What, woman?
You're so mean.
The gun-toting pacifist said, "How dare you?"
Tell everyone the truth.
I'll Hey, at least I was way nicer. Rob says she took his left nut too. So, at the gun-toting pacifist, there's the link. If you want to jump in here and tell me how mean I am, you're more than welcome.
It's no longer the gun-toting pacifist.
It's always going to be the gun-toting pacifist.
No, he is now just a gun-toting pacifist.
Actually, it's just gun-toting pacifist. There's no a, there's no the, there's no the.
No, but you add in the English language, he would be a, since he's not the.
It's just like, what's it? Budget Guns and Gear is now what? MK Journals or something. No, he's budget. He's budget. He'll always be budget. So, I don't see pacifist coming and joining to tell me how mean I am. You have anything else you want to discuss there, Mr. Foss?
Not that I can think of.
Who needs to clean them? You just put them up and take them out to the range the next week. You don't got to clean your guns. That's overrated. So, why don't you go ahead, plug your show?
Oh, yeah, later some stuff and some talking and good times.
So if you're up late night, 11 o'clock Pacific, or what is that, 2 a.m. Eastern metric time? Something like that. You can hang out with Mr. Foss and harass him overnight. He loves it. He loves the company. Mr. Coop does do live shows every once in a while. So if you're not subscribed to him, Mr. Foss threw his channel links out in the chat earlier. So definitely check him out. Most people know who the New York Outcast is. So he was on the panel earlier. So definitely check him out. And we are going to play the outro and get out of here. Be safe, everyone.